So welcome to Movement Mondays. My name is Bri. We'll need either a scarf or a towel for today's class, and that is in place of a resistance band. Having that longer resistance band, if you have that, is going to be a great option for you instead of or in lieu of those scarves or towels. Everyone will be muted during today's class. If you see me kind of moving back and forth for the first 10 minutes of class, that's just to let in any kind of stragglers. But after that 10-minute mark, we'll be ready to go into the class. We'll already be warmed up at that point. Okay, so let's make sure that you do have yourself set up on the chair with your props. Okay, so with yourself set up, you've got that resistance band between your hands first, or your scarf or your towel, and make sure you're going to fold it in half if you do have a longer towel or scarf, and then just kind of let it rest across the lap for now. So that's just our setup for today. We always want to make sure that we're using our breath work, we're listening to our body, so let that be the precedent before like you're listening to me. Like never push yourself to the extremes, never push yourself past any of what your limits are or where you know yourself to go towards. And always have some water nearby so that you can have that at the ready if you do feel a little overheated. So listening to your body is primary and key. Okay, so let's start with some breath work. As we are breathing, the Pilates breath is a little different than how we normally breathe. So we want to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And sometimes closing the eyes can be a little easier to kind of go through this movement. So as you're inhaling in through the nose and out through the mouth, I want you to notice how that breath is moving into the body. Maybe you feel the rib cage expanding, the belly moving forward, the back moving back, and even the shoulders might lift up and down. Okay, so as you're inhaling, I want you to feel all 6 of those directions. So out to the sides, up and down, as well as forward and back. Okay, so it's like you're a 3-dimensional compass. So we always start with this breath work because when it comes to breathing, it's like a shower for the inside of the body. So we're going to breathe in all of that new air, oxygen, and nutrients into the body so we can breathe out all that stale air, whatever it is we don't need, whatever it is that you need to let go of. Think of that, whether it's physical breath or maybe something energetically, emotionally, or mentally that you can just like let go of from what happened today. Let's do 3 more of those big expansive breaths. Last 2. And final 1. Now you're going to take that band, scarf, or towel, wrap it around the back side of your body, and try to just hold it in place. Okay, so you've got both of those ends on both of your hands there. Your elbows are pulled in towards the side, your feet are planted flat. And now take 5 more of those cleansing breaths in and out, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And so what you're trying to feel is how even the back of your rib cage, as you breathe in, is pushing that band or scarf back behind you. If you don't quite feel it yet, that's okay, but just close the eyes. Imagine that you are expanding outward in all 6 of those directions, out to the sides, out to the back and front, as well as up and down. Okay, so 1 more big inhale and exhale. Great. Now from there, you're going to take that band, scarf, or towel, make sure it is actually folded in half, and bring it underneath of your heels of the feet. So once it's underneath of the heels, make sure that the feet are about hip distance apart. So while you're here in this position, we want to make sure that we're not rounded forward at the back, but instead you're trying to pull the shoulders back, and see how that just happened to where I have like a nice straight spine, and I've got head to heel alignment, and I'm kind of looking over my toes like I've just made a wish in a wishing well, and I'm seeing over that well to make sure it came true. So think about pulling your heels apart, then lifting them up and lowering back down into that band, towel, or scarf. So if you hear me say band, just know that I'm talking about any one of those three options. If this feels like the scarf or band is a little too short, lengthen it out so you don't have to lean over as far, okay? And it's like you've got a jump rope that's kind of stuck underneath of your heels, lowering and lifting it down and up so you can feel those heels lifting, the ankles opening. So why we're doing this is to try to feel the alignment of your spine from hip to head, up through the heart, and holding that posture strong, the shoulders back. Whether you want the arms long, down towards your side, or maybe strengthening those arms and kind of holding a bicep curl. It's kind of up to you, what feels best for your body. So that when we're mindfully moving here, as we're lifting and lowering, we can start to check in with ourselves and be like, maybe this feels okay, maybe not, okay? Then we're gonna make sure that we have long arms, long band, and bring that band underneath of the toes. Sit up nice and tall now. So if you do need to wrap your hands around that towel or band, then go ahead and do so. But lifting the toes up and lowering back down. You need to slide the feet away so you can lift the toes up and lower back down. That's your option there, okay? So we're here in these movements for about 45 seconds to a minute. As we're lowering and lifting, just helping to open up the ankle space, the foot space, even the toe space. Okay, and so as you're continuing to do that, keep going and think about how the breath feels best for you to move. So we always want to think about syncing up the breath with the movement. So we inhale up and exhale down, or maybe exhale as you lift the toes and inhale down, okay? Then we're going to give that band a little break, fold it in half again over your lap, and start to reach one leg out in front of you and roll your ankle around. Take those big cleansing breaths while you're doing this. Still think of it like as an internal shower. You're washing the insides. You're breathing into that belly space. And as you exhale, pulling everything up and in. Rotate in the opposite direction with that ankle roll. And while you're here sitting tall, like your tall, long posture comes because of the core strength. So when we think about the core, we think about lifting upwards as well as inwards. Okay, and then switch to the other side. That other leg comes out long in front of you, rolling the ankle around like you're stirring up a pot with your toes. And then switch directions. Rotate around. So you're focused, or the focal point is onto the heel, the anchor point, as your toes roll around. All right. Okay, then a little bit of brain movement. We come back to that right leg or your first leg, and then the same arm out in front of you. Can you roll them both around in the same direction? Okay. So just connecting and making sure those neural pathways are ready to go for our movement for class today. And then switch directions. So rotating around, and just think of like you had a puppet string on your hand, or maybe like a wand in your hand, and you're rotating that wand around and rotating the foot around as well. All right, and then switch to the other side. Left foot, left hand, rotating around. Awesome. So thanks you guys for coming to class today. Hope you guys enjoy the class. And if you want to come back to this class, go ahead and switch directions. You want to come back to this class will be on YouTube as the recording. So you can come back and practice these same moves again. Okay, that wand or puppet string lifting in, rotating up and around. All righty, good. Okay, so then take your band and make sure, all right, 7-10. Make sure now it's out long as you can get it, and place your right foot into that band. Place that band and your foot down back onto the ground and start in a bicep curl position. So you're at that 90-degree bend at your arm, okay? So while you're there, right foot is in that band. All you're gonna do is straighten the leg out and keep that bicep curl position. Bend it back in underneath of you, and like a pendulum, swing it forward and swing it back underneath of you. Try to do that without letting the leg come back down onto the ground. If it needs to, it needs to, but also try to do this without letting the arms like lengthen out or pull in. So everything else stays strong, long, engaged, and tall. Inhale in, exhale, push the leg out. So you're using your biceps here. It's like you're rowing that leg back in towards you, holding those elbows in tight towards this side. And so we're working the quad muscles, those muscles that are right there on top of your thigh, the hip muscles, the hip flexors holding that strong long out in front of you, as well as the core muscles. So feel that each time that leg extends out in front of you, your belly button, your navel pulls in towards the spine as well as lifts up away from the seat that you're sitting on, okay? So now from there, hold that leg long, reach both arms a little more forward, choke up onto your band, okay? So now holding that long arm position, your leg should be able to stay out in front of you. It's okay if it kind of drops a little bit, but just make sure your body doesn't come into this sort of caved forward position. We want to make sure that we stay stacked and strong. Your leg is pushing forward, your arms are pulling back. Now, just a tiny lower and lift, lower and lift. Inhale, exhale. And what you're trying to do is not lift with your arms so much as you're lifting and engaging with your core. So even if that band wasn't there, you're using that core strength, okay? So if you wanted to try, let go of that band and try it without that foot. About 10 more seconds here. Lift and lower. 10, 9, 8, 7, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knee back down. While it's down there, go ahead and place your other foot onto the band and then take your right foot off of it. Okay, so now that left leg is into the band. We do the same thing on the other side. Our setup is strong, long spine, strong core from the deep belly from within, bicep curl holding position. So it's like you've got weights in your hands and all you're going to do is extend and kick that leg out like you got a soccer ball in front of you and then bring it back underneath of you. Exhale as you extend, inhale as you bend. Exhale, extend, inhale, bend. Pulling the toes back towards you, flattening the foot like you're trying to get a footprint flat onto the wall in front of you. Getting ourselves set up and prepared to hold that leg out long in front of you. So let's make sure that the shoulders aren't up by the ears. They're not earrings here. We don't have a phone between your shoulder and your ear. We want to keep them down away from the neck so that our neck can stay long, away from the ears. And opening up the chest. So as you're pulling back with those elbows, we want to make sure that that strong back position is opening up through the chest. Now hold that leg long. Bring the band to one hand so you can walk one hand at a time up your band, okay? And remember, if the grip strength feels a little too challenging, you can wrap around your hands there. That might make it a little easier on grip strength. But now you're gonna lower and lift that leg up and down for about 45 seconds. And remember, the lift doesn't come from your arms. Your arms are not doing the work. It comes from the tiny, tiny intrinsic muscles of the core. Your arms are kind of like kickstands here. They're not doing a lot of the work, but they're there to kind of hold yourself up if needed. Okay, 20 more seconds. Exhale as you lift, inhale, lower. 10 more. 9, 8, 7, 6, shoulders down, neck long, looking forward. 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knee, bring it back down. You can go ahead and take that band out from underneath of the feet. Let it lay across the mat. Hands onto your thighs and knees. Inhale, pull the chest forward. Exhale, round the spine back. So just like a cat and cow spine, if you were kneeling, inhale, imagine your udder is pulling down towards the ground or forward. Exhale, rounding the cat like an angry cat. One more time, inhale, cow. And one more time, exhale, cat. Awesome. Okay, then stack the spine up tall. We're going to take that band into the hands, palms down. Okay, so the knuckles are forward and the back of the palm is up towards the ceiling. So we start nice and straight. So now we get into some of that rotation. So keeping that band in front of the heart, even as you twist. So some of us like to kind of twist the arms all the way across the body. That's not what we're going for. We're going for a rotation of the torso and then coming back in front of us. Exhale as you twist. Inhale, bring it forward. And as you're seated here in this rotation, try to bring the legs together, feet together, so that when you rotate, we don't want to see or feel any of the legs moving with us. Instead, they stay stationary, the hips stay still, and each time you come to look forward, try to stack the spine up taller. And then exhale, twist to one side, like you're wringing out that towel in your hands as if it were your spine. Wring yourself out, keep the shoulders soft, exhale as you twist, inhale forward. Let's do 2 more each side. 1 more each side. And last one. Good. Now place that band back down. Give yourself some shoulder rolls backwards first. Couple here. And then forwards. Couple there. Okay, so when we're doing our upper body movements, we always want to make sure that your shoulders stay soft and like it feels like if these were your shoulder blades, they're pulling down and back towards each other. So instead of up here while we're moving from side to side, we want to make sure we have a long swan neck lifting us up. So now looking from side to side, turn and rotate to the right, and just the neck, turn and rotate towards the left. Exhale as you twist. Inhale, center, exhale to the other side. 3 more. 3. Notice as you're twisting, like how much of these other parts of the body want to go along for the ride. We want to keep just the neck and head in their lane as everything else stays in their appropriate lanes. Last one to the left. And then being very careful with our neck movements here. Okay, so bring right ear to right shoulder. And then lifting back up and left ear, left shoulder. Okay, so as I'm cueing this, like, and you're like, oh no, that's not my right or that's not my left. Let's make sure that you come out of it slow and controlled rather than like jolting yourself back up and saying like, oh no, that was the wrong side. So we always want to be aware and cognizant of how our movement is being done. The body responds best to slow and controlled movements. If we kind of jolt ourselves out of it, squinch and clench everything, then the body will also respond to that and clench up and sort of tighten up. We want to resist that from happening. So then looking forward as your chin tucks down towards the chest, being careful as you lift back up, remembering to listen to your body as you lower and lift. Try to inhale as you look down and exhale as you lift up. One more time. Inhale, look down. And exhale, lift up. All right, good. And now to keep the tracking motion of like eyeballs to the rest of the body, now we're getting really tiny with our movements. Just the eyeballs move to the right. And then track all the way up in front of you, eyeballs to the left. Nothing else moves other than eyes to the right and then to the left. Right and then left. So where the eyes go, the body will want to follow. So remember that. So if you're walking around and sometimes balance is an issue and you always feel like you're kind of leaning forward or looking forward, it might be because you're looking down and your body then wants to follow that movement. So just a little tip or trick. So now with your eyeballs, look up and right without lifting your eyebrows. And so you'll start to feel like a little bit of a stretch in the eyeball muscles. Then up to the left and up to the right. So just breathing normal as you're doing these motions, right? And then left, and then look down to the right, down to the left. So as you're doing this, you might start to notice like how maybe it's easier for the body or the breath to sort of come in and out with a little bit more ease. And this is because what you're doing is you're stretching that ocular nerve, which then stretches the vagus nerve. So that turns on, it turns on and stimulates the vagus nerve. So then rolling your eyes around like a washing machine, going around and around a cycle, and you're watching the clothes wash in its circle, go in whichever direction that feels comfortable for you first, and then gently start to like let your nose and head follow. So why is the vagus nerve so important for us to stimulate and for us to stretch? And that's because it starts to turn on your parasympathetic state. Your parasympathetic nervous system is our rest and digest. So as we're moving through class today, it turns off our fight or flight, okay, where we're always tense and anxious and worried or like, oh my gosh, what's coming next? And it starts to go ahead and switch directions, rolling the eyes around and then the head around and the nose around in the opposite direction. So what it does is it starts to allow ourselves to be more open to change, more open to something new that may be coming our way. Okay, all righty. From there, give yourself back those shoulder rolls, one shoulder up and then the other shoulder follows, almost like you're doing the backstroke with your shoulders, and then start to let the arms follow. Then start your backstrokes. So getting that full circumduction, all that means is just a fancy term of saying the full circular motion of your shoulder mobility. Now a front stroke, reaching forward just like a freestyle, moving forward in that full circumduction. That's it. Nice. Okay. Then from there, reach the arms out to the side, like you're either getting ready to like push up or bench press. You're going to start to reach one arm across the body and the opposite elbow pulls back. Okay. And then you reach and punch the other arm across as the opposite elbow pulls back. Again, working through the rotation of your spine and making sure that it's not your hips or legs that are moving, but instead your upper torso, the movement and the rotation from your spine. You can think about getting in tune with your inner Katniss as if you're pulling back on your bow and arrow, focused on that bullseye right in front of you, and then rotating to the other side. Okay, so as you're punching back and forth, and I want you to pull both arms back, rotate the palms up, and you're going to lose sight of my arms there, but reach up overhead, pull back down, reach up overhead and pull back down. So now we're thinking about opening up the sides of the body. Then start to reach up and overhead. If it feels like having those feet together is maybe a little challenging, you start to open the feet a little wider for a bigger, stronger foundation. And maybe you notice you can reach further off to one side and then further off to the other side. Oh, it needs to feel really good in that side body, helping us to breathe in deeper into that lung space from hips to ribs. And more lung space means more air, more oxygen, more nutrients into the muscles, into the brain, into these connections between brain and body. So let's try one more each side. And last one. All righty. So now, bringing that band back into your hands here. Now that we've got that upper body warmed up as well as the lower body here, band with the palms down out in front of you. Pull that band apart. Doesn't have to be like extreme, like you're going to rip it like Hulk style, but just have the tension there. Okay. And so this is just like a push-up or a bench press. You're going to pull the arms back together and punch back out again. While this is happening, feet flat, knees pulling together as you bench press out, and think about squeezing something between your legs. Inhale in, exhale out, pulling in and reaching out. And remember, as this is happening, we want to keep those shoulders down, the rib cage together, and like you're pushing something hard away from you. Think about if you were pushing into the wall, like a push-up, or down into the ground, just like a push-up. And then also think about pulling something towards you. So pull those elbows back as that band comes across the chest. Then your arms are going to stay out in front of you. Pull one arm back, and there's your rotation again. Punch that one arm forward, pull the other arm back. Okay, so from the front view, pulling back, rotating, watching where that elbow goes, punching forward and pulling back. Okay, if you're like, my elbow's not going back that far, just take a wider grip with your band. Pull back as your other arm punches forward. Pull and punch. Pull and punch. Do about 2 more each side. Okay, last one on the left and on the right. Nice job, you guys, good. Then from there, rest your arms down, take some more of those cat and cows. As you inhale, pull the heart and chest forward, bring the gaze up, exhale, round the spine back. And think about like almost pulling on the knees. 2 more rounds of that, inhale and exhale. Maybe give yourself a little shimmy or shake from side to side. One more time, inhale and exhale. All right. Good. Then with that wide grip onto your band again, reach up and overhead. Okay. Now I'm just going to kneel down so you guys can see what's happening. Okay. So with those arms up overhead, you're going to pull one arm right in front of you. So that band is going to kind of come like an eye patch over the right or left eye, then punch back up again. Pull that other band in front of the opposite eye patch there, and then push back up again. Okay, as you're holding that band up and overhead, make sure that the shoulders are staying down away from the ears as you alternate from one side to the next. Think about pushing up as you pull down. So a lot of Pilates is like oppositional energy. So we create the resistance for ourselves. Yeah, that's it. Good. Pull as you press. Do about 3 more each side. Punch as you pull. Last one and one. Okay, then lower that band back down onto your lap there. And this time, instead of cat and cow, you're going to take opposite hand to opposite knee, whether that's right to left or left to right. And the other hand comes behind you. Just getting that nice gentle twist of the spine, lifting yourself up on your inhale and trying to exhale, twist and look out over your back shoulder a little bit more. Then can you hold this rotation? Inhale, lift up your back hand, lift up your front hand, rotate yourself around to the other side and grab onto knee and chair. So then as you're holding that rotation, take another inhale here, hold, and then exhale, twist. Then as you inhale, lift both hands up, hold your twist, and then exhale, bring yourself back forward again. Nice job, you guys. Now, we're going to take an underhand grip. So it's like you're serving up your towel here as a gift, okay, or your scarf here. Your elbows stay next to your side, your feet stay together, knees closed, so that we can watch and make sure those legs aren't kind of windshield wipering side to side. Spine is nice and tall. Taking that inhale to prepare, and you've got that tension on the band. So no like hammock swing here, but pulling apart, working on those rotator cuff muscles and strength. So then, just like that bench press, think about reaching forward and pulling back. Or maybe in our traditional Pilates exercise movements, this is called serve a platter. You're serving that platter up and pulling it back away. Serve it up, pull it back. Exhale forward, inhale back. Continue there. If it feels better to exhale, pull back, be my guest. As long as you're breathing, not holding the breath, do what feels right for your body so that you can start to learn to listen to it. You guys are doing awesome. Okay. So now as we start our transitions into our rotations again, understand and know that you might have to open your arms a little wider, your hands a little wider. So now hold that platter out in front of you. Let's widen your hands, go towards the tail ends of your towel and pull back with one arm as the other arm punches forward. So there's your rotation again. Look back at that left shoulder, then punch forward, look forward, pull back, look back. Punch forward, look forward, pull back, look back. Yes. So why are we doing all of this rotation? It's because the spine was meant to move in all 4 directions that we'll be moving through class today. In this case, rotation is one of them. Okay. The other thing that we've been doing with our cat and cows is flexion and extension. That's our 2 and our 3. And the other one, which we're getting ready for, is our side bends or lateral flexion. So when we reach over to the side and open up that space between hips and ribs. If we do not move into these motions, the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, really does apply to the mobility of the spine. Let's reach forward and back one more time on each side. And then lower that band down. Good. Either go through your cat and cows, okay? Remember flexion, extension. Here's your flexion into your cat, extension into your cow, or you come into that rotation. Just listen to your body. This is like a freestyle moment, whether that felt good with that rotation, and come to the other side. All right. Then we get to prep for our little side bends. So depending on how big your chair is, I recommend kind of scooting just a smidge to your right, so you have a little bit more space on your chair to the left for either your left hand to hook under the chair or to hold onto the chair, on top of or under. With your right hand out to the side, like you've got that platter, okay, you're gonna reach up overhead and take that side bend stretch. Reach it back out to the side, inhale, lift up tall, and exhale, pull all of that tension from the left rib cage and hip, like they're crunching in towards each other, and lift back up. While this is strengthening on the left side, all of this right side is lengthening, okay? And so that's where you can challenge yourself more. Maybe no hands, no left hand on or under the chair, just hover it. You may want to think of it as like a yin yang. So the right arm goes over, the left arm comes underneath. Yes, Edie, good, nice. Reach out to the side, and let's do 2 more there. Right arm over, left arm under. Awesome, last one. Okay, now you can stay with your hand here, stay with that arm reaching under, or we add the band back to it. So we're gonna have to have like a wider, longer band. So it might even be that you have to take it out from that haft position. So arms out to the side, so that when you do come into that side leaning position, that left arm is punching down, your right arm is punching up into that side bend. Then you come out to the side with your arms and repeat that. Let's do about 6 total, 5 more each side. Punch the left arm down, pull the right arm up, and inhale tall. Exhale, try to keep your right hip sinking towards the earth there. 3 more. Remember, keep those shoulders soft. Last 2. Yep, and make sure you've got that oppositional energy. That left arm is pulling, that right arm is pulling away from each other. And then final 1. Good job, you guys. Okay, so then let's start again from the top. Lower that band down, scoot your booty over to the left side. Start with your right hand either hooked under or resting on top, legs together, knees together, left arm out to the side. So now you can reach up and overhead for 6. Yes, we're just doing the other side. 5. Try to feel and notice how the strength comes from that right side. 4. And all of that length is being felt on that left side. Last 3. 2 more, then we'll try it without hands. Think about squeezing those legs together. Last and final 1. Good, so then feel it out, see how it feels with that yin-yang position. Right arm underneath, left arm over top. Pull the arms out and away from each other, and then yin-yang underneath and over top, okay? So this is just to kind of to gauge if you can do it without any hands or without any bands, okay? So let's go for just 1 more there, and you'll grab that band into both hands. Pull the arms out to the side, slide them out long. Remember, you're trying to pull that band apart. Feel that resistance and oppositional energy now as you kind of tip yourself over and lean back up, okay? Maybe like I'm a little teapot, short and stout, okay? Tip me over, pour me out, okay? 4 more. Pull that left arm up, punches a hole up through the ceiling as your right arm punches a hole down through the ground. Last 3. Do your best to keep your arms long and strong, out away from each other. 2. And final 1. All right. Good. Let that band rest. Give those shoulders some rolls back and forth. Again, let it be a little freestyle here. Maybe some back strokes with the shoulders or even the arms. Maybe some freestyle strokes forward with the arms or just the shoulders. Okay. So if you do have that band long, go ahead and half it again. and take both ends into your hands. So now the middle of your new band comes back behind your head. So you've got now a neck support, but also a little bit of resistance. So your hands and arms come in front of your head here so that you can see your elbows. Okay, so you've got a nice frame of the face here. Now we want to make sure that we're not pulling the head forward. If anything, yes, you are pulling the head forward, but also you're pulling the head back. So you feel all of that resistance that is happening. Keep the legs together, feet together, everything zipped up, looking up, and just about like maybe 3 feet up towards the ceiling. So not all the way up towards the ceiling, but just up a little higher to maybe where the ceiling and the wall meet. Then what you're going to do is hinge yourself back. So your spine stays strong and long. Pull the head back into the band and then lift yourself back up again. Pull back, keep those elbows narrow, and then exhale back. Of course, if it feels better to exhale back and inhale up, use that breath for you. But we're trying to create a pattern here with that breathing. So here it is from the front, squeezing the legs together so you get that strong inner thigh adduction. If your elbows are out here, that puts a lot of tension in the neck and the shoulders. So you want to keep those elbows narrow and soft. Or elbows narrow, shoulders soft, sorry. Let's do 3 more there, pulling back against that band and up. Last 2. Up. Nice job, guys, good. Last and final 1, and then bring it up. Take that, you can like rest your scarf, like show it off a little bit, okay? Give yourself those shoulder shrugs. If you did feel any tension in the neck, look from side to side, okay? By strengthening the neck extensors or the muscles in the back of the neck, that also helps with posture. Instead of us looking forward like this all the time, by pulling up and back against that band, we start to strengthen up into your posture. All right, so let's give that upper body a little bit of a break there. So with your band, you're going to lengthen it out and kind of give yourself a little wrap around the legs, okay? So thread it under the legs first, and then having the feet about hip distance apart, I want you to make a little knot there with your scarf or band, okay? Maybe that's bunny ears, whatever kind of knot or band that you have to create that tension, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect there, but you do have something that when you pull your legs apart, you feel the side glutes working. So I want you to put your hands right onto the side of your glutes there. So when you feel like your feet are trying to pull apart from each other, okay, that then you don't feel that the feet are moving apart and the knees are caving in, but the feet are staying under the knees in front of the hips, and everything is actually moving because of the hips, okay? So put your hands onto your back pocket, side pockets, and feel that tension, okay? So then as you move forward and back, what's happening is you're hinging at the hips, okay? So this would be like the same muscles that would have to work in order for you to stand up and back down, okay? So if you are at that point, I know this is called chair Pilates, but if you do feel comfortable for it, you can lean forward, lift yourself into a little bitty hover, and come back down, making sure that you don't plop yourself onto the chair, but that you are in control of it. Good. Yeah, and then you can start to, if you feel the connection of your hips, like you feel the muscles working, take your hands forward for balance, for a little bit of counterweight, and come back down again. Yes. So in that hover position, that's where most of us kind of get like stuck. And we either fall back down or we start to feel that like, whoa moment of like leaning forward. So remember, where your eyes go, your body follows. Give me about 3 more. And when you're looking forward, then the body can start to track upwards and forwards a little bit rather than down and forward, okay? So last 2. And remember, if you're staying seated, you're just leaning forward and back, okay? And then final 1. All right. So hopefully you felt a little bit of burner in the booties. So now what we're going to work on is keeping that band nice and taut, leaning back. So if you have a back of your chair, lean back just to barely touch it. If you don't have a back like I do, lean back to a point where you're like, I could stay here for whatever she's planning. So now right leg is going to kick out in front of you. Remember these leg extensions that we did with the band pulling on the foot? Now we get to work on that movement by ourselves. Place the right hand onto your quad and feel the muscle working under your hand. So what's happening is that when we hold ourselves back into this hinge position, we're trying to pull all of that space between hips and ribs into that nice engaged core position. Doing about 4 more there. Pulling that band apart still so you feel the hips, the core working. 3, 2, and then the last 1. Now lower that right leg back down, push the left leg out. Okay. And then we want to make sure that our head, heart, and hips are all in line with each other. So you're pulling apart, you're lifting up, just like we worked on with our breath at the beginning of the class. We're trying to expand and stretch the body in all 6 directions: outward, upward, front and back, and then contracting inward, side to side, down, and from the top. 3 more there. Last 2. And final 1. Come back up nice and tall. Take either your rotation, stretch, okay, or your cat and cow from side to side, front to back. And remember what those side bend stretches felt like. So if you felt good during those, reach up and over from one side to the next. Okay, and if all of those feel good for your body, go through that same series each time after we do these leg movements, okay? So then think like you are a genie, getting ready to grant someone's wish here. If that doesn't feel good, if you start to feel it in your shoulders, prayer hands position, okay? So genie arms, prayer arms, those are your options here. What we're going to do now is straighten that right leg out in front of us. Can you hold it there as you twist? Then come to look forward, bend that right knee back in underneath of you. Band is still taut. As you exhale, twist and lift. Inhale, bring yourself to look forward. To challenge more of the core, can you stay in that hinge back position and rotate from the obliques of the core space? So we have all of these different core muscles that kind of wrap around us and hold us nice and strong and long, just like a corset. Or maybe like a super big belt buckle, okay? So give me about 3 more here. Towards the right side, your left elbow is trying to get over top of that knee. 2. And then last 1, and switch right over to the next side. If you need to take a break, sit up, cat and cow, move from side to side, or get right into that left side, rotating that right elbow over top of that left knee. Then come forward, looking forward, bending that knee. Inhale, exhale as you twist and wring yourself out like a wet towel. Exhale, rotate, twist. 4 more there. Pulling that band apart. So that right side is working just as hard as that left leg, but in a different kind of way. Last 2. So right booty cheek, left booty cheek, but now also left quad. Final 1. Come back up nice and tall. Take your rotation stretch to one side and then the other. Take that side bend stretch from one side to the other. And take that cat and cow into your flexion or into extension, and then your flexion. Goodness gracious. One direction to the next, okay? All right, good. So leaving that band tied, and depending on like how much tension you have, you might have to tie it a little tighter. We're gonna just slide it down now to the ankles, okay? So once it's on the ankles, you're going to make sure that you have that good, strong, like pulling apart. It's called abduction. You are A-B, ducting it out away. You're pulling them apart. And just make sure, you guys can see the feet. Okay. So then from there, you're trying to slide the feet away from each other. As this is happening, you're going to start to straighten one leg out. It'll kind of come in front of you, like it's kind of punching across towards the other side. Left leg then kicks in front and pulls back. If the band or the scarf or towel feels too taut, just take it off and continue with these motions. But what we're trying to do is coming across the body. You're working outer glutes, inner thighs. Okay. So it's kind of like you're passing a soccer ball, just a little pass, like you're in practice and just getting warmed up. Okay, at this point though, it should be like pretty warm at this point. Okay, then we're gonna bring the arms into the movement. So then it starts to become more of like upper body, lower body, and core. So full body compound movement. As your left leg comes across, I want your right arm to punch in the opposite direction. Yeah, it's a little tricky. Then pull back in, look center, face center, switch, right leg, left arm. Pull back, look center, left leg, right arm. Ooh, and then sorry in advance for if I get my rights and lefts mixed up. It can be a little tricky here. If you can still feel that the core is engaged, try leaning back, hinging back, and then opposite leg, opposite arm with those punches. Punch against that resistance for 4, 4, 3, and it's not about lifting the leg, it's just about reaching the leg. 3, 2, twisting yourself out like a wet towel. 2, nice job, you guys, good. Final 1, and 1. All right, good. Come back up, take those either cat and cows, rotation stretches from side to side. Take your time here. Or remember, you've got your side bends up and overhead. So just be aware that these motions, these 6 different motions during your days are all great ways to bring mobility back into the spine, okay? So remember, if you don't use it, you lose it. There we go. All right, so you can either bring that band back up to the thighs, undo your bow, okay, or whatever kind of knot you tied for yourself there. Take that band out from underneath the legs. Awesome. And then that band is going to go behind your shoulders. Okay. So having it behind your shoulders, maybe if you do have a scarf, it's kind of like you're about to like wear it over your shoulders like a shawl, but we want it across the shoulders there. Okay. And then when your hands are at the end of the tails, like punch and slide them forward so your arms are long. So then you can open the arms out to the side, like you're going in for a big hug. Yeah. And if you did have like a wide enough scarf, it would kind of look like you have wings. Okay. So feet are hip distance apart. We get ready to rotate the whole body from one side as you exhale. Inhale, center, and exhale to the other side. So as this is happening, instead of like letting the arms do the movement here, the arms are just along for the ride. The arms are trying to keep that band nice and taut as you pull to one side and push the arms to the opposite side. Now, if your legs are separated, like I told you, we want to make sure again that the legs are not moving with you from side to side, but that they're staying planted like rooted trees down into the earth. Let's try 3 more each side. Last 2 and 2. And final 1 and 1. Awesome. Okay, so now from there, bring your hands down. That band is still across the back line. Hands come down towards the thighs though. So rest them onto the thighs. And then you're going to bring your elbows out to the side. You're going to get slack in that band. But as you push yourself away from the thighs, push backwards into that tension, okay? So it's like a push-up. It's just like a push-up. So you lower down, you don't have that tension that's pushing back against you. Then you push back up and try to feel how the chest muscles and the triceps and the back of the arms are pushing you away into that band. If it feels a little too confusing with that arm to knee position or arm to thigh position, you can bend the arms in and punch back out in front of you. Bend in and punch out. Okay, so just giving you guys options. Which one feels best for you? Reaching out and keeping yourself from kind of like being pulled forward by the band or pulling back into that resistance. 3 more there. Last 2. And final 1. Okay, so now bring that band down to about the waistline of your body. Okay, And then having the bands underneath of your arms is going to be most comfortable. And having your elbows, remember that circle platter position with the palms up, elbows tied in towards the side. So what we've been working on up until now has been a hinge back position to where we hinge at the hips. Now what we're going to work on is called a C-curve position. So now with that tension that's behind us at the waistline, imagine that you're pushing, not imagine, you're going to be pushing back against that tension. So you're going to create a nice C-curve through the spine to pull into that band strength. Then pull yourself back upright. And sorry, I kind of just straightened out my arm. So if that feels better for you, or holding those arms bent feels better for you, do what feels comfortable. Okay, exhale, pulling the belly button like it's trying to touch the band. And then inhale, stack the spine tall again. Exhale, it's like your cat spine is going backwards. And then inhale, back upright. Exhale, pulling back. And then inhale, lifting up. Okay, it's almost like you're on a swing. And remember, if you hold onto a swing, you're gonna have to swing the legs forward to lift the swing up, and then pull yourself upwards to swing the legs back underneath of you. That's what we're kind of working towards right now, to curl the spine up and maybe start to play around with that leg lift out in front of you. Bending the knees back underneath of you, stacking the spine tall. So this is very similar to like a hollow hold position. If you do have a back of your chair and you still want to try this and that back of the chair is in your way, I recommend sliding yourself to look towards the side. So then the back of your chair is to the side of you. So then you can slide those legs forward and pull yourself back upright. Exhale. Let's try 3 more. And so if you do have a back of the chair, like just touch your back to the back of the chair. That's your little safety net. 2. And last one. Good. And bring yourself back up. Take your band down, your hands down. Go through your 6 different articulations of the spine. Flexion, extension, lateral flexion into that side bending, lateral flexion, and then into your rotation from one side to the next. Nice. All righty. Good. So now with that same C curve, that band is on the waistline right behind your belly button. So if we drilled a hole through the belly button, it would come out through that band on the back side. I want you to now hold that C curve position. Start to walk yourself up onto the toes. So you're just like a ballerina stepping onto the toes. Soften the shoulders, pull the navel towards the spine like a puppy dog who just got in trouble. Tuck your tailbone underneath and start to march your legs up and down, one leg at a time. So here's what it looks like from the front, lifting and lowering. If lifting up onto the toes is not an option, just keep your feet flat onto the earth. And then what we're going to do is add on to where, if you feel comfortable with it, the one leg that comes up, twist your band and arms towards it, place it back down, exhale, twist towards the other leg and other side. Keeping that C-curve position, belly button towards the spine. Good. This is very similar to like a crisscross in Pilates. It's basically like a bicycle kick. It's just a fancy word where we criss from one side, cross to the other, all while maintaining that strong hollow hold C-curve position. Let's do 2 more each side. 2. Last 1 each side and 1. Awesome. Bring yourself back up. Stack the spine tall. Let's go through that one more time of cat and cows. Side bends or lateral flexion. Yes. And then taking that rotation from one side to the next. All righty. So then at this point, let's start our cool down. So no band is needed at this point. You can put that off to the side, your towel, your band, or your scarf, and bring one leg off to the side. So just opening your legs out wide. So one leg, both legs, either way, but just in a wider stance position. Your hands are going to come onto your thighs, and it's like you're leaning forward for like a really good story. Like, ooh, what happens next? Okay, so with those hands on the inside of the thighs, really try to pull them apart. Make sure that the shoulders aren't choking up next to the ears, but that your head is lifting up like a turtle out of its shell. Rotate towards the left and push a little harder into the right hand. So feeling that inner thigh stretch from squeezing the legs together all class, lifting back up, and then rotating to the right, dropping your left shoulder down and pushing a little harder into that left leg. Lifting up and rotating to the other side. Let's do 3 each side total. So not just inner thigh stretch, but also getting into a deeper, almost like flexion and rotation of the spine. Last one to the left and last one to the right. And then bring yourself up now to stretch out the outer glutes. You're going to bring your right ankle up towards the left thigh. Okay. And then from there, you can either hold this position staying tall. If you want a little bit more, your right elbow kind of presses onto that right thigh. If you want a little bit more, you can kind of roll that ankle around. And of course, you want more. The more you lean forward, the more that glute will start to open up. Switch directions of that ankle roll. Great job in class today, you guys. And then sit yourself up tall. Take that same leg out wide to the side and both hands onto your left thigh. Pull the right toes up towards you and lean forward towards the left. So what we're trying to feel is inner thigh, hamstring on that right side. You don't feel it yet. You will feel it in a moment. Just kind of warming up, flossing open through that side there. Then you lift yourself up, keep your left hand on that thigh. So then as the right arm reaches forward, you have a sort of kickstand that's holding you upright. So if you don't reach down towards the foot, maybe down towards the ground, holding onto the shin or even placing your hand onto the thigh. All right. So take note of where you felt that stretch happening, because when we come over to the other side, right foot down, left ankle to the thigh. Remember your options here. Stay tall and lifted. Elbow, pushing that knee down, keeping the shoulders soft. So if your shoulders are your turtle shell, try to poke your head out of that shell. Yeah, exactly. Remember your ankle rolls as your option. One direction. You go deeper for a deeper hip stretch and switch directions. Remember, these are all just options. Listen to your body. What is it asking for? And then lift yourself back up. That same leg now goes out to the side. Both hands come onto the right thigh and lean over that right thigh. So just like our warm-up, our cool down is just as important as the workout itself. So we want to make sure that after we've moved the muscles, that we've moved the body, that we are cooling down properly for ourselves, okay? That prevents injury from happening later on. Then your left hand will reach out to the side, right hand stays onto the thigh. And this just depends, again, on your body. Like sometimes the sides of the body will feel completely different from right to left, from front to back. And so for me, I don't feel the hamstring stretch. I actually feel more of the low back on the right side. There is no right or wrong. It just depends on how your body feels, where your body carries tension. If you use more of your right side, like I'm right-handed, then it's not as surprising to feel more of one side being a little tighter than the other. So then come back up, take both feet out in front of you. So both feet out in front of you, nice and long. You can lean back into your chair, or you can hold yourself upright onto your chair. Roll your ankles around a couple of times there in one direction and the next. And then as you point the toes, flex the toes, point the toes and lift up and look up through the gaze and the chin. And then as you flex the toes, pull the toes up towards you, bring the chin down towards the chest. Point, look up, flex the feet, look down. So this is just nerve flossing. Flossing open the nerves in the front and back of the body. One more time, point. Last and final time, flex. Good. Then last little bit here, let's end just the same way that we started. So with our breath work, take a big inhale in through the nose, out through the mouth. Maybe close the eyes, in through the nose, out through the back of the throat and the mouth. In through the nose, one more big inhale, the biggest breath you've taken yet today. As you exhale out through the mouth, so expel all the breath that you can, breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. So then you make room for all of that new air, new oxygen, new nutrients for the body to move with good form, good posture. So great job today, you guys. That is class, that is our time. Give yourself a round of applause for getting through this class. And as always, make sure that you are signing up for the classes ahead of time so you can get the emails and you can get the sign-in credentials ahead of time.